Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Luca's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my. This is one of our market movers. So what's up, Luca Nation? You know, we're back. We got a guest for you today. You know, Andrew likes to say that he stole it from me. We scour the earth. We didn't really have to go too far on this because if you are on Instagram and you find yourself looking at your phone and laughing your ass off, it's probably because you landed on this guy's page, right? So we got Lamim James, right? And it is amazing how fast his account has grown. I love it. You know, I look for it every day. If it doesn't pop up in my feed, I go searching for it because we're going to have to talk about where you come up with your ideas, where you get this stuff from, because some of it's so funny. The one you have like Russell Westbrook the other day, I was like, oh my God, where does he get this stuff? I mean, it's good stuff, man. So we're bringing them in as our market movers because look, we want to bring like all corners of the hobby to you, right? And you know, when this hobby kind of expands, when the card stuff expands, right, and grading expands, we've seen an explosion of all kinds of what I would call like a cottage industry related to the boom in sports cards over the last couple of years. You got everybody from I'm subbing cards on your behalf after I clean them. I use my one of my clean pairs of underwear and I scrub the Prism card for you. You know, KK and Clay and all those guys, and I'll charge you $3 extra. You got a whole industry of people subbing cards. You got a whole breaker industry online. Break for me, it's like online blackjack. And this guy here, he might be the smartest of all, right? So he's got the card humor. I mean, it's like waiting for the PSA sub and all. I mean, so dude, I said the last time I was going to not spend so much time introducing our guest, and look what I just did. I spent like 8 minutes introducing you.
But you're excited, Chris. It's good. I love it. Chris is the guy behind the account, you know, and like Cage said, one of the funniest accounts on Instagram, especially if you're into cards. Chris, welcome to Luca Nation.
Hey, Cage and Andrew, I really appreciate the invite. And I just want to say that, you guys are killing the pod game right now. And so, you know, when you guys invited me on the show, I just had to take the opportunity because I really enjoy the content you guys are putting out. It seems like every day when I pick up my phone and look at the available podcasts out there, you guys, at least a daily upload or maybe every other day. So
it's daily. We actually have more than one. We have more than one a day. It's every day. We actually are ahead of the pace.
You guys are putting out a lot of quality content. And again, it just keeps me I'm driving, right? And I drive a lot, but it allows me to just still stay on the hobby while of course, still focusing on the road. But man, I really appreciate what you guys are doing and appreciate the invite.
Appreciate it. And Chris, really at the core, I think a great place to start is it's easy to put out content every day when you love what you do. And that's what the perception that I got from a distance. I know you're actually in the Netherlands, which is so cool. When you love what you do, the content kind of pours out of you. So tell us how you got into it. You know, tell us the background story of who Chris is, who Lamim is, and how collecting overseas works.
Yeah, so I would say when I was younger, I was really heavy into collecting when kind of Shaq's rookie year, and I still remember my parents. I still remember my mom and dad. One year they got me a Scottie Pippen rookie card, and then another year they got me an '89 score Barry Sanders. And so those are the memories that I keep with me. They're just fond childhood memories that I'll never forget, and so that's what brought me into collecting is just having a connection with the players. And then of course, spending time with my mom and dad and them really, you know, just helping me get cards. And it was just a fun time to spend with them. So I took a long break. I got back in it around I want to say it was 2003-ish. I believe that was like LeBron's, like the hype around LeBron coming back in the league. And so I got back into there, picked up some Kobe rookie cards, started grading a little bit with BGS, but that didn't last too long because I was in college and getting ready to graduate there. So, you know, time to start my career. And so I took another long break, and in early 2019, probably January, February, finally came back to the hobby again, you know, this time with some disposable income, right? I didn't really have much growing up and early on in my career, in my college days. So yeah, it was nice to come back in the hobby and see the different, I mean, it was such a crazy space now. I mean, Upper Deck was gone. I didn't know what Panini was. I thought they made sandwiches. It was a type of sandwich. So it was just like, it was all foreign to me, but I learned as quick as I could, got on IG and started following a bunch of accounts. And yeah, it just helped me just trying to learn the Panini product line and understand the whole, the grading and everything else. It was just the market and the hobby had changed so much since 2003. So that's kind of my timeline back into the hobby up until now.
It's amazing because you're not the only one out there, right? And it's funny. I talked to Andrew about this, right? It's almost like an every 20-year-ish type of thing, and it's usually centered around a phenom, right? So I can tell you the first basketball cards that I bought were also when Shaq came out, right? And Shaq was a huge driving factor, right? And you bought cards. You go to college, the cards go in the basement. That kind of faded because there wasn't a Shaq type prospect until I remember selling cards from a showcase on college breaks and law school breaks in Wall Street, like to the brokers when LeBron came out, 2003. I remember buying packs. I remember breaking stuff, LeBron, Melo, Darko, sorry, Piston fans. But, it's funny because Shaq and then you got LeBron and people come back into the hobby. And now it's come back again, right? With Luka and Zion, especially with, all the hype about him. So, it's a story, it's not an isolated thing. But what you've done differently is, unless, you just don't post it on this account, you didn't go in and buy 400 Zion Prism cards and start grading them. You decided to come out and basically poke fun at the hobby a little bit. And I love it. I think it's great. So where'd that come from, man? Where'd that idea come from? Probably drinking. Probably a late night, a couple of Amstels.
So contrary to popular belief, I actually do have some cards. I do PC Trae Young, and I got a side PC of Luka Doncic. And Trae Young was probably the reason why I got back into the hobby. I liked watching him play at Oklahoma, and then he got off to a rough start at Atlanta. But like I said, that just allowed for some nice buying opportunities early in his rookie year. But I do collect cards. It's just right now with the way the market is priced out, that's where I'm pretty much at, so I haven't really bought a card recently. I've been more focused on just like some of the non-sports card stuff. So like we were talking about UFC, some Pokemon. Pokemon's now getting pretty high as well. And then also I do dabble in graded video games. So those are the kind of things that occupy my time right now. But yeah, so I would say I first started posting just like a normal account, just posting the cards that I had on my PC. And then just one day I just started posting. I just know the hobby is crazy because there's so much you can talk. It's almost like its own little reality TV show from back in the day, right? There's just something going on every single day. And there's, whether it's great news, great pulls, someone acquiring a Grail and an IG, the hobby IG getting shut down, right? Everyone's going crazy. Or some of the other, like, I would say dark stuff, some of the things that are like, wow, I can't believe that's really going on in the hobby. And I love it all. And I don't have any advertisers on my page. I don't get paid for anything. So I just post what I feel like. And
sports cards are their own like little corner of the internet. If you kind of think about it, right? Like the internet is this one big party, and some people, they follow the Kardashians. That's the party that they want to go to. Well, there's this new party going on with sports cards. That's how I see it too, Chris.
That's why the humor is great with Chris's page, because it's like, it's all inside jokes. It's all like hobby jokes. It's all, you had one with LeBron on there, right? Where it was talking about finally getting a gem after it being submitted 5 times. He's got the mouthpiece out and he's kind of like leaning back. And everyone remembers the pose, but not using it for that. And and obviously it's caught fire because you got like 70 something posts and like 5,000 followers. So the advertisers will come, but people are really paying attention to it.
Yeah, I think what's great about the hobby memes are the only these pictures and these videos, they're all viral around the internet. They are. You've probably seen the pictures of memes with SpongeBob and Kermit. You've seen those like 1,000 times, but I think it's the caption that really resonates with the collectors and the investors and the retail flippers and all the different types that we have in our hobby. They can relate to that, and that's what makes it cool. Is that they'll understand it, you'll understand it, I'll understand it. But if, like, when I show it to my son, or I show it to my daughter, or I show it to one of my just random buddies, they're just like, what the hell?
Yeah, what does that mean?
they look at these acronyms. They're like BGS, PSA, PSE. What does any of this crap mean? Gold label, black labels, they have no idea. So, I think that's why hobby memes just, and believe me, I'm just a small account, right? There's some other great hobby meme accounts out there. I know Tyler the Sports Guy is a big one. Heroes for Sale.
Yep.
He's coming out.
Yep. Heroes is awesome. One of our pals.
Stacking Slabs. He's starting to come out with, with some memes. So that's great to see because I think Cherry Collectibles is another one they come out with. They're an Australian breaker, and I believe they do come out with some memes. But it's just great to see because, I love looking at cards, and that's what's great about IG. Of course, that is the main emphasis on the hobby IG, right? Looking at cards, maybe watching some breaks. But I also enjoy that different element, that comedic relief, and maybe just seeing something a little differently, I guess.
Exactly. Listen, I'm gonna cut you off because I was so excited when you agreed to come on. Because your account, so I'm a lunatic with this stuff. I last night I put 100 cards in a PSA sub, and it was in the morning I submitted another 100 cards to PSA. So I come home after going to the post office and I'm subbing more, and I'm waiting for QA2 to hit refresh, and I got a package that I just sent to Puerto Rico that's got so many cards in it, and I'm tracking it every 5 minutes, and I'm annoying the hell out of Andrew. And every once in a while, what he'll tell me? He'll dude, enjoy it. Enjoy the hobby. Remember why you did this, right? I mean, he's a little zen. I'm a little lunatic. It's a cool combo, right? It's like Oscar and Felix, right? So, but it works, right? So, and he's right. And that's why I was so happy to have you on because, look, I'm nuts with this hobby. I'm buying, I'm selling, I'm trading. Our normal episode is we get on here, we spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We try to tell people, here's how to make money, here's how to do this, blah, blah, blah. But you as a guest, it's great because the hobby is a family. The hobby is fun. It's a community, and there's more to it than just what can I buy today to flip tomorrow. There's more than just me, tooting my own horn and saying, Darius Slayton, guys, I told you in July, buy him. Look what happened last night, right? So, and that's great. But every once in a while, it's like, Andrew tells me, stop and smell the roses. Think of what you did today. Think of what you accomplished today. And I do that by looking at your funny shit. So thank you.
And I couldn't agree with you more. It's the hobby. You're like you said, it can weigh in on you. There can be a lot of pressure there. And I see that a lot. And you're right. Sometimes you just need to take a break and just really find what you like. I think for me, I think my account's just a good example of you don't necessarily have to have a 5-figure, a 6-figure health. I think some people even have 7-figure collections out there to find your space, to find success in the hobby. But I think if you do what you like and you enjoy doing it, right? I mean, that's really what's the most important thing. And to me, I don't have the massive grails and the PC like others do, and I enjoy looking at stuff. I find enjoyment through just making content that maybe puts a smile on someone's face.
So Chris, tell us, where are you at? And were you growing up? Were you the funny kid in school? What's the origin? How did you get started into it?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of had
such an eye for it. You're able to create 4 or 5 pieces of content a day that's all unique and different and equally hilarious. So that there has to be a talent there. You shrug it off like it's an NBD, no big deal, but it's a talent. It's really unique.
Yeah, so I think so I really started the meme push, I would say around late March, early April, when Corona really, it kicked off. And so I started teleworking at home, and I found myself with a lot of time. I mean, I'm working at home, but I'm gonna be honest with you, there's sometimes when I'm just looking around and okay, there's really nothing to do. So
he means after hours. So if his employer is listening, it's after hours. He means he's looking around not 9 to 5 in the Netherlands. It's off hours. We promise.
It's off hours. But I think I was pumping out I can get a good 8 to 10 during those days, and I was like, man, there's no way. I'm probably gonna run out of content soon if I keep doing 8 to 10 memes a day. There's just no way you can sustain that type of volume. And up until recently, I think I've kind of tapered down a little bit. I'm mostly down to maybe 3 or 4, but I could certainly maybe do 8 to 10 a day if I really wanted to. And I don't think it's necessarily I kind of grew up the class clown, so maybe there's some of that there. But when I just see a picture, so I follow a lot of meme accounts. There's, tons of meme accounts, Facebook, Reddit, IG, of course, and just all over the internet. So I'll see a picture, and for some reason, something will pop up in my head that happens in the hobby, and that picture or that video is just perfect for it. And it just I wouldn't call it a talent. Maybe it just comes up. I'm not sure why. I really don't know.
Whenever you put the PSA backpack into your little stick figure memes, that gets me. I don't know why.
Oh, it's the backpack. You can't forget the backpack, right? You can't forget the PSA hat. I started putting the Maguire. I started putting the Maguire's scratch off wax, because that's what people do. Some people do when they card prep. I think that's hilarious. They wax their cards. Whatever, for the grade, okay, understand.
I'm waiting for him to have one with Mr. Miyagi in it for waxing the cards. That's what I'm waiting. I'm taking credit. You got to give me credit for that.
I want people to know that. But my memes, I don't. To me, there's nothing personal against anybody. There's no ill will. I do some memes on Sports Card Investor. Jeff Wilson is his name. Runs a big YouTube channel. I got no ill will towards him. It's just he's a prominent figure in the hobby. So also the president of PSA, he's also a prominent. His pictures everywhere. So I just think it's funny adding like people in our hobby into the memes. That I think people just get it, and it's funny.
I love the ones about grading, right? Because everybody's so serious about the grading. I mean, mostly stuff like I think you had a Drake one where it's like, the grade's popping, there's no gems, right? And, I mean, it's funny. It's just funny stuff, because we all, Andrew's heard me complain. I'm like, oh, my gem rate, what are they doing to me? So, I mean, it's the same thing, right? It hits home. We all, that's why it's funny.
Yeah. When something is true, it's really funny. So grading is a big part of the memes that I'm pushing out, just with the delays in the grading companies, the inconsistencies, companies' their quality control can sometimes be lacking. Like they slab cards upside down.
Yeah, I saw that one, the Jordan. That's funny.
And then the previous post I had was just a picture I saw on the internet of someone's 86 Fleer Jordan just got destroyed in shipping. And that's heartbreak city for any one of us who know the importance of that card. And of course, I talked about the delay times. And then of course, all the grading companies now, they seem to be raising their prices frequently with all the hot money that's in the hobby. So, another thing was PSA with their upcharges. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, they'll upcharge you when you submitted a card 4 months ago that was $100. They're upcharging you now that it's a $2,000 card, they're going to upcharge you. And that upcharge, whether it's $20 or $100, there was no added additional service there. It's right. Just your upcharge. Like, they didn't grade your card faster, right? They didn't have extra eyes on it. They just had someone at the end of the process look up a completed auction, and you see this high price, and now you're going to upcharge me. I got no value from that. So that's something that I'll never understand. So
it's weird, right? Because that is a huge issue, because card prices fluctuate a lot. So the one that I have in QA2, I have 28 Mbappe Prism.
Oh no.
28, right? And we're talking, it's a bulk. And I submitted them. I paid like $18 a card for these things. It took me a little while to get them and submit them, right? But I had a bunch. These were my best ones. I sold a bunch of them way too cheap, trust me. But there's 28 of them. Now, imagine the order popped a month ago when they were $3,000 each. Then I would 100% get an upcharge. But now I saw some today sell for $1,000, maybe even a little less. So, I mean, are they going to upcharge me? I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah, it's crazy.
They've dipped down to about $1,000. Soccer's, and that's another thing is when I put out memes about, I love putting out memes about soccer, because the soccer investors, they love to rage on that stuff. And to me, it's good fun. And I have.
I know the one you're talking about, right? You were like holding the guy's face. It's like when it's the biggest global sport or whatever it is, and you're like, whatever. It's funny.
I need people to understand this. I have no influence on the market. Like, I'm a little meme. I'm a meme page that just makes jokes. I have no influence. So if you see me clowning on the guy that you PC or one of your picks, it's not a personal attack against you. It's just I just find humor in it, right? Like the soccer card market, it rose so fast. Like, let's be real. Like, did anyone expect that? It was so sudden. It was so unexpected.
What's your theory on that? Why do you think that happened? Like, soccer's been the world's most popular sport forever. I mean, you're from Europe. You know how huge soccer is. Why are soccer cards exploding right now?
I think it's just, honestly, I think it's flippers. Flippers selling to flippers, investors selling to investors. Someone's going to get left holding the bag. That's just
I agree, and 100% agree. 100%. I think, you know what you have? People saw a modern fly. Then they saw vintage basketball fly. And I think you just have a lot of people in here looking for the next big thing and trying to get in front of it, you know? I mean, that's really I agree with the entire flippers selling to flippers. And somebody's going to get left holding it. I agree entirely.
Yeah,
I feel like there's so many soccer players, though. Like, relative to other sports, like people forget that NBA has 200 to 300 guys that you're buying. Soccer has 4 to 5 different leagues with 20 teams in each league. There's a ton of guys, and there's a ton of guys that are really good that actually don't play as much as you think. So it's really, I don't know if people that are investing in soccer really understand how it works. Like, I know Mbappe could be good, but there's 15 Mbappes all over the world, to be fair.
The theory is sound, though, right? It's a huge sport, and it's a huge growing sport, right? So, I mean, the investment theory behind it is sound, but you're right. I mean, it's tough to pick the right ones, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris.
I've definitely heard that viewpoint and that rationale behind the growth in soccer cards. And I don't know, just for a small sample set, guys, I live in the Netherlands, and soccer is big here. Like, soccer is huge here. Maybe not as big as like some of the other countries, but it's definitely big here.
Well, some would say soccer has come from the Netherlands system. The Dutch system, the passing system, the Johan Cruyff system that came from the Netherlands is a lot of how Barca was even built. Sorry to jump in there and get like really.
No, it's cool. It's cool. And watching the World Cup, I know the Netherlands, they have the orange jersey, right? I mean, that's what I was familiar growing up with. But when I talk to all my Dutch buddies, I'm telling you guys, I asked them, hey, you guys buy like Prism soccer cards? And you ever heard of the brand Panini? And they give me this look like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't buy soccer cards. They buy stickers that they put on their kids' lunch boxes. So again, it's a small set. Maybe I'm not talking to the right people, but I just don't see that demand for soccer cards here in the Netherlands, let alone me finding a card shop here.
Now, you tell me, Chris, though, that they make cards for your women's field hockey team, and I'm buying them. I'll buy every one of them. Because that's where I stop. That's where I start and stop in Dutch sports. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Luca Nation listening, look up the Dutch women's field hockey team.
Yeah, they're fabulous. They're unbelievable.
They're great athletes. Great athletic prowess, like you would not believe.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. But
so who's your favorite soccer player?
You should look it up too. Then
I'll look it up.
Who's your favorite soccer player, Chris?
Basketball player?
Soccer
player. I only watch soccer when the World Cup comes around every 4 years, and if the U.S. isn't in the World Cup, I don't really watch it. So
you haven't given us the background story. You're in the Netherlands. Did you grow up in the Netherlands, Chris? I was going to ask, like, how's your English so good?
Listen, Andrew, you can't press people like this. So you got arrested one day a bunch of years ago, and he's not allowed to leave. They took his passport, and he has to stay. I mean, what if there's a story like that? Come on.
That's a fair question. That's a fair question, Andrew. That's a fair question. So I've been here in the Netherlands for the past 2 years, and I'm only here because of my job. I'm in the U.S. I'm in the Air Force, U.S. Air Force, and so I'm just doing my part over here. It's going to be a 3-year tour. I've already done 2, and so I got 1 year left here until I probably move back to the U.S.
Wow,
that's
it.
Didn't
expect that. Thank you for your service.
Hey, I appreciate that. No problem. I love serving our country. And for all the things going on in the U.S., it's still the best country in the world for sure. I've traveled many different places, and And so I always got love for the U.S., no doubt.
And you have your family there with you, or what?
Yeah, I do.
With you?
Yeah, I got my wife April's here, and then I got my 2 children here. So yeah, we love Europe. It's cool to live over here and see how they're doing it over here, and travel as well. It was a big thing before COVID. So I've gotten a chance to visit a lot of cool countries and experience a lot of different cultures. So yeah, it's been a great opportunity living here, no doubt.
Cage is gonna kill me for going this route, but I have to go this route because I think traveling is one of the most important things that people could do to get a little bit of perspective on what's going on in 2020 America. But I have to go here, like from an insider being overseas and seeing everything develop. What's your take on the economic and political climate right now?
Oh man,
dude, he's a meme account. What the hell are you doing?
We have a responsibility to people.
What are you?
Tough question.
You're not Larry King. Like what is this? You're auditioning for like Fox News here. He makes little like artwork and makes us laugh. What are you doing to this poor guy?
He's also in the Air Force and supports our country. And
God. All right. Sorry, Luca Nation, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Just talking to my European coworkers. Yeah, the U.S. right now it's just a lot. Anytime you have an election year, there's just different ends of the spectrum, and it can be a lot to take in. So right now I'm staying off Facebook. I'm not trying to watch too much of that stuff, and I hope everything kind of stabilizes and evens out. But because right now it can be tough to watch some of the news and see it over here on the other side of the world across the pond. So I just hope things can stabilize and we can improve as a country. Get better.
By the way, that's half the reason I think that sports cards have kind of grown in such popularity over the last couple of years. And you've touched on a couple of things, and I'm going to take this away from politics and military and all that stuff as quickly as I can. So I love nostalgia, man. And I think that really, with 2020 being the dick of a year that it's been, and, even last year, and just politics just dominating the news cycle and, real divisive stuff in the country. It doesn't matter where you fall, but, it's you can't escape it. I think nostalgia and, you looking back to, a time where you did something, you collected something, you had a good time with your mom, your dad, something you're going to now do with your kids, and escape from what you see on TV, on the news, and all that stuff. I mean, you talked earlier, you mentioned, when we were chatting that, you collect all kinds of stuff, right? A little Pokemon here and there, the video games. So we've had a lot of guests on, and I know that's become a pretty cool thing. People are paying big money. I saw like a Zelda sealed video game graded. There's like people that grade video games. A Super Mario Brothers sold for like, what was it, 6 figures? I mean, it's just crazy stuff, right? So I still have my old Game Boy. Can I sell that?
No, yeah, right? It's got to be sealed pretty much.
No. I jumped down the stairs. You can only see like half the game when you put the game in. And there's no.
The graded video game space is heating up. I'll tell you what. We think the card market's maybe fourth inning. Still early in the game. The video game market's like in batting practice, and that is an insane space. The main grading company, the PSA equivalent is WATA. It's called WATA, and so they have a grading scale 1 through 10. And they grade sealed video games as well as open games. But I think the preference right now for investors is a sealed video game. And just to think, like, we talk about pop reports on a card. So, base prisms, your pop's getting up into the 10,000s, right? But think about a sealed video game. And when I say sealed, I'm talking Nintendo days. I'm talking Super Nintendo days. How many of that stuff survived sealed?
I've seen Atari. I've seen Atari games now coming out.
Yeah, there are Ataris, but for sure, like during my era, I was like a Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3 era, Ninja Gaiden and stuff like that. And when we bought a game, we opened that shit like within 10 seconds. So the pops are low. The demand is starting to come up because of that nostalgia factor you talked about, Cage. And so I think graded video games, I think there's a lot of growth upcoming. It's seen explosive growth already within the past 6 months to a year. but I think it'll continue to grow as it matures. I mean, it's still the comps are all over the place. There's no real tools that track price data. There's no pop reports yet that's been published by these companies, by the grading company, mainly WADA. I think they're going to eventually. So it's very immature right now. And I think when it gets a little more mature, you may start seeing even more people enter that space.
So what's the big one you have, and what's your grail? I'm not saying you got, like the graded 10 Zelda or whatever it is, but like what are you hunting for?
Yeah, so I only started about, I would say in March, when COVID kicked off. But right now, I think the biggest piece that I have is just a Super Mario Brothers 3. It's graded 9.2, and then I got Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo. That was like my game growing up. I dumped a lot of quarters. I spent a lot of time on Street Fighter 2.
So 3 is the one where Mario turns into like a raccoon and can fly with his tail, right? That's a very like polarizing video game.
Yeah, it's one of the, I would say one of the most sold video. I would say that's the one sold the most ever. I think it's Mario 3, but yeah.
My quarters went to NBA Jam. That was the video game at the comic book store. NBA Jam. He's on fire, but I'm dating myself. There's a lot of age there. That predates a lot of these games.
I played NBA Jam. I don't think Andrew played NBA Jam, but I played it.
No NBA Jam. But you know what's funny?
I play real video sports,
games. I don't. Yeah, me neither. Look at me. I don't play real sports. I'm all video games. But so I've noticed some of the major auction houses starting to sell sealed video, and you're talking for legit money. So once you see that, there's a market for it.
Yeah, Heritage Auction, they exclusively sell water graded games. So they just completed their live auction. The summer live auction set just ended. I'm talking record breaking numbers over there, guys. It is crazy. Just some of the games selling as high as they are. You just wouldn't believe it. I can't believe it.
It's crazy stuff. It really is. All right, Larry King, what else you got for this poor guy?
I'm interested who's the coolest person that follows him.
Oh, that's interesting. Dude, if somebody asked you that, would you know? We have like almost 3,000 people following us in 2 months. I don't even know who follows us.
It's
the
Manny.
Cool ones. They're all cool.
It's Manny.
It's
no
you.
question.
Manny's the coolest one. Manny puts out some funny content too.
Right.
Yeah.
And just so about the follower thing, to me, I when I first started, I used to care about that stuff. Like, why am I not getting the followers and all this? And probably about I would say maybe 2 months ago, I was just like, you know what? I don't give a shit about followers anymore. And don't think I don't care about the followers. I just don't care about having that number at some high. The number doesn't matter to me. The engagement matters to me. And so, like I said, I'd rather have 100 people who engage with me and follow me, and we can talk and have an everyday discussion than have 1,000 inactive followers. The engagement matters more. And
well, Luca Nation, he's not saying he doesn't care about you, and we want you all to go follow him. So tell him what the account is really quick.
Yes, my account's just Lememe James, LEMEME _ JAMES. So just to play on LeBron James.
Yep. And we do want you to follow him because, look, we bring you a bunch of stuff in this hobby. We bring you, tips. We bring you sports cards. We bring you sport, updates, you name it. But like Andrew tells me, and I've said this already, every once in a while, take that 30-second break, look what this guy posts, and brings you back down to earth, right? Remember that, you got into this for enjoyment. You got into this for fun, right? It's not all about the flip life. It's not all about the, hey, I'm making money and I'm hustling and I'm doing all this stuff. And there's plenty of that to go around, trust me. But every once in a while, ground yourself a minute and laugh because, we're doing this for fun. If you're not having fun doing this, what the hell are you doing?
I agree 100% with those words.
Last question before we wrap it up. If I'm a high school kid starting out and I want to build a presence and I want to build a community around sports cards, do you have a piece of advice that you would give them?
Yeah, start now. Start now. Post what you like. Follow those accounts that are putting out good information out there. And be active. I think that's a great way to grow your presence in the hobby is just to be active. If you're active out there, commenting, liking people's posts, DMing people, I think you can really build a nice presence in the hobby, if that's your goal. So it's just about being active, it's about being persistent, and it's about being consistent. And so if you can put all that together and grind every day, you can build a great great presence in the hobby for sure.
Well, if I could give people one tip today of a card to buy, it would be Lamine James. Buy that raw, send that in to PSA or BGS. That's going to come back 10, 15x by the time.
I need the SGC 10 gold label, please. Just like the Jordan, please.
So you have a dry sense of humor, don't you?
Yeah, kind of. I think so.
What do you think of that? What do you think of the SGC gold label? What do you think of that?
We don't want to get into politics today, Cage.
It's not politics. What do you think of the SGC gold label? You think that was it too high? I mean, like, that's crazy. The premium over a PSA 10. You know, I mean,
I like I said, if they're trying to, if SGC's really trying to get that gold label out, one, they got to fix that label because that gold label looks like dog. I can't even tell what the hell that is. Two, when I looked at the close up of that bottom right edge and corner, it looked like it'd been frayed. So I don't know what the hell was going on there. So, you know, the one thing that kind of bugged me a little about SGC was when it sold, they were like, I don't know, they were pumping their chest. Like, I don't know. I just don't see public companies doing that. Like,
no,
you know, like,
nope.
I don't know if you saw that Instagram post that SGC did, and I was just like, what the hell are they doing? So, you know, I think some humility. I think just letting your grade, however it sells for, speak for itself. I think that was the right play. But, you know, whatever. That's what they want to do.
I wish I could have got a podcast when I met with their team back in February. It was a carbon copy of what you said. They were pumping their chest of how ready they were for 2020s, you know, how they think that they're really going to be the next elite grading company. And here we are 60 days later on a 20-day sub. Nothing. Silence.
Sounds like the makings of a meme.
Oh no, I've had SGC on my stuff. Hey, but you know, kudos to SGC because they actually have not banned me or unfollowed me. They're actually good sports about it, I guess.
Who has? Has anybody banned you or unfollowed you? Who has?
Well, I've been trying to get Panini to follow me, but they refuse to. For sure.
Luca Nation. I want you to go after Panini. Tell him to follow this guy. Listen, so my son, who is the reason I got back into the hobby, that's why I'm doing Pokemon, why I'm doing this stuff, and he's a funny little bum. But in any event, the other day we're watching. I'm going to shout him out again. We're watching Mealy Pop's Madness. It's like a Saturday night, like crazy singles sale, you name it. And my son's looking at it and he goes, Daddy, he opens up the boxes and he opens up the stuff with this like cutter and it says Mealy Pops on it. And he's crazy. He wants $7 for this thing. He sells them, but look how great it is. It makes it easy to open, right? So I do a deal with Jamil over at Mealy Pops. I sell him some cards and I tell him, I said, listen, I'll sell you these cards at a good price, but you got to send me 2 of those cutters, you know, Mealy Pop branded cutters, which, come on, look at the legs he's got out of this already. I mean, people are going to hear me say his name thousands of times now, but so of course, you know, I send him my cards and every package that comes from Florida where his shop is, and I get a lot of mail because I buy a lot of shit. My son gets to the door and says, it's my cutters. It's my cutters. Like, we even opened one on one of the episodes and it wasn't it. And my son was like mean mugging me while Andrew and I were recording. And so people listen. And after that episode, the Mealy Pops Madness Saturday night, half of our audience was on there yelling at him to give my son the cutter. Give the kid his cutter. What are you doing? We're not going to buy anything. And if people are buying, we'll buy, but you got to give the kid his stuff. So Luca Nation, do your thing. I want you to hit Panini up and tell him about this guy's account and have him follow him.
Yeah,
so one of two things is going to happen. They'll either follow you or they're going to ban you. So
I put out too much stuff on Panini. They'll never follow me. You
never know, man. You never know. Listen, you know, we'll see, man. They used to say that Oprah would never go on David Letterman's show either, but it happened. So
I've hit Panini on their quality controls, the redemption process, their points, just everything. You know, the recycling of images and photos throughout multiple brands. It's
not to mention you opened today's episode by calling them a sandwich company. So it's all good, you know. I mean, it works.
Hey, they're the only game in town. What you gonna do, right?
It's very true. Well, listen, you keep doing your thing. We'll follow you, and everybody who's now following them, follow them. Check this stuff out because it really is. It's a great, you know, couple of second giggle. I'll be on the railroad, going into work, and the thing will pop up, and I'm like, oh man, where did he come up with this shit? So it's really great. We're great having you on. As Andrew said, thank you for your service. Enjoy the Netherlands, enjoy while you're there, and thanks for coming on, man. Andrew, you got anything else? We're gonna let this poor guy go. It's late over there.
Yeah, we'll let him go. You got parent-teacher conference coming up in a few minutes here too. But Lamim, it's cool to. What I love, the account is amazing, but the person behind the account is even better. And I think that's super cool because you never know. We all have these accounts. We have these profile pics. Yours is Upper Decks burner account is actually. But what's cool is the person behind and being able to connect with people in a real way. I think that's important too.
Yeah, man. Again, I appreciate the invite, and it's great to put a face to the account names, you two. And I just appreciate you guys inviting me. And again, I really do love the content you guys are putting out. I hope you continue to pump it out, and just the way your guys' insight into the hobby is very valuable. So really impressed what you guys are doing over there for sure.
Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and like, subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.